Welcome again, everyone. We're happy to have you here today for this webinar on the value of chamber travel to your members and the local community, featuring Ian Scott. Before I turn the program over, we have a few housekeeping notes. First, please remember to place your phone on mute and refrain from placing the call on hold to avoid any background noise or unnecessary interruptions. Second, we have reserved time for questions at the end of the webinar. If you have any questions, please ask them using the question function in the webinar access panel. The question box is in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Just type in your questions and we will read them aloud. Third, this webinar should take no longer than an hour, and it will be recorded and the link will be emailed to attendees. Ian Scott is the General Manager of Aventura World by Central Holidays West. Over the years, Aventura World has been a reliable and trusted partner of ACCE. ACCE's leadership values the relationship which we have built over the years and have themselves participated on many of Aventura World trips. Now here's Ian Scott.
Thank you, Tenja, and thank you for inviting me here today. It's great to be on this webinar, and it's great to be able to bring forth chamber travel to the chamber community. I've been involved in travel for the last 35 years, and travel is an education and it is a privilege. And it's fabulous that chambers can offer this service to their members and members of the local community. The aim of today is to go through how to operate, how to plan, who you should plan a travel program with. And with the aid of slides, we hope we'll accomplish this. As many of you already may know, Central Holidays West has just gone through a new branding section. So we'll discuss a little bit about our philosophy and a little bit of the name as we go through this too. Now, importantly, I want to be as open and clear as possible and get over and done with in the front a little bit about who Aventura World and Central Holidays West is, and then really get into the meat of how to plan a program, hopefully with Aventura World and Central Holidays West, but at least give you the information using my experience in chamber fundraising travel to make a good, well-participated program. So off we go. Aventura World has been in business since 1972, and we are a wholesaler of travel, not a travel agent. We are a member of Sakara International Travel Group with thousands of employees worldwide. Sakara owns riverboats, hotels, bus companies, and other travel-related entities. They have offices all over the world, and we do. On the East Coast and on the West Coast of the United States. We've got one in Paris, Rome, London, Delhi. And as you know, we are the official travel partner and sponsor of ACCE. We follow their standards of quality and codes of ethics, and we're very proud to be that partner. As a wholesaler of travel, not a travel agent, but as a wholesaler of travel, we can bring forth tremendous value for money to you without affecting the quality. We contract directly at the source, creating terrific opportunities to travel. We're dedicated to producing the treasures of the world, whether it be in Europe, South America, Australasia, Southeast Asia. There are many treasures to be found. And this is part of our new Aventura World philosophy. And we'll discuss that in a moment. But we class ourselves as a leader in value-priced, first-class chamber programs in the country. Once you have a discussion with one of our business development professionals, we hope you will agree with that. Now, our philosophy over the years, through constant feedback with our travelers and our traveling guests, we have learned that travel is no longer just about seeing the sights, seeing the Eiffel Tower or the Colosseum, Table Mountain in South Africa, or Machu Picchu. It's all about the experience, and it's all about finding out about maybe the education, the infrastructure, discovery, new facts and new information. So what we have done on our programs is brought forth interactions and meetings with locals to have people to people discussions and interactions on the life, on the social aspects of the region, of the economy of the region. We do off the beaten track events such as finding out about a family in Croatia and their industry, which is truffle hunting. We go out into the woods for a short walk with their dogs in search of the extremely valuable truffle. In Cape Town, we have a discussion, an interaction with a prisoner. A prison officer guard that used to guard Nelson Mandela on Robben Island. We learn about apartheid. We learn about the penal system. Learn about the friendship that he built with Nelson Mandela over those years. Iceland, we learn about thermal greenhouses and growing of vegetables. Not only do we see the operation, but we taste tomato soup made from the tomatoes grown in the greenhouses. A pint of Guinness in Ireland in a local pub where we meet the landlord and locals and learn about local life over there. It's all about the experience, and people will remember the sights and the sounds, but what they cherish and are long-lasting memories are the experiences, and that's what Aventura World is all about. So now we've had a little conversation about who Aventura World is. Let's get into some generics about bringing forth a chamber travel program, as we call them, an international awareness program. There are numerous benefits to operating such a thing. Of course, the main reason is non-dues revenue. Everybody is looking for new revenue streams. Creating an international footprint for the chamber is important. There are many chambers out there that are extremely well known in the United States, but don't have the ability to get their name out in Europe or Southeast Asia, the rest of the world. And an international awareness program brings forth that possibility. Taking a leadership role in educating members of your chamber or members of the local public about life outside the United States, outside your town, your city, your region, is extremely important. How do people transact overseas? What is the difference between hometown America and hometown Cape Town, for example? A reward to your staff, fabulous way. We all work extremely hard in today's day and age, and what could be better than to reward chamber staff with free travel? And we'll discuss more about that in a moment. And importantly, travel is fun. It builds long-lasting, lifelong friendships. The hardest thing of any travel program is the last night. You've traveled with people for the last 7, 8, 9, 10 days. You've built up new friendships, and you're going to say goodbye the next day. If you do this right, you won't, because you'll build that affinity. And you will be able to continue year in, year out, building that affinity and building your travel program. That's how this works, is creating long-lasting relationships. Now, the steps to creating a successful travel program. First of all, you've got to select the criteria of selecting a travel partner. Selecting a destination, and we're going to be going through each one of these points in a moment. How do we select a date? How many trips a year should we plan? Who are my prospects? Who are my travelers? Who am I trying to attract on this program? The horizons of time. When do we start marketing and when do we go? The marketing aspects. How do we get the message out? Member benefits and traveler benefits and complementary spaces. Each one of these we'll be discussing now. So let's just start selecting a travel company. It might sound quite easy. There are many entities out there, but it's important to be different. It's important to the chamber marketplace is a value-conscious marketplace. Important to select a partner that creates their own programs, that has an understanding of the world, that contracts directly at the source, and thus creates the value for money that your travelers are looking for. A company that's been in business for many years, but in business for fundraising travel, not vacations. Vacation travel is something completely different than chamber fundraising travel. When you plan a vacation, you might go with your family, and you might know I've got Uncle Albert and I've got Auntie Anne from Florida, and I've got a couple of cousins from California, and I know I've got 10 people. And 10 people together, we're going to go on and we're going to have a great time. You know how many people you've got. With a fundraising chamber travel program, you may not know how many people you're going to get, and you may not know of any travelers at this time. So it's important that the company you partner with has an understanding and a good track record in producing sellable fundraising programs. It's important to have a well-rounded company that can not only assist in promote the program through knowledgeable and good presenters in the business development associates, a marketing arm that can create brochures and such things as that, somebody that can create the accounting assistance that you need. Because if you bring forth an entity like that, the cost of sale and the labor for you will be greatly reduced. A company that brings forth a unique set of destinations not offered in the community. It's very, very important not to get involved with the Sunday newspaper trying to compete on Caribbean vacations, Alaska cruises, because it's very, very difficult to compete against an internet booking engine or a Sunday newspaper. A company that has shared departure dates. We at Aventura World call them shared departures. Some people call them guaranteed departures. We class them as shared departures. So if you produce 2 or 200 people, the trip still goes ahead. So basically, if you've never done a travel program before, and you don't know how many people you're going to produce, you have the assurance knowing that you'll be placed on a departure date with a couple of other chambers, or hopefully not from the same area. We do our best in managing that, unless you're okay with that. And then together you'll create the amounts to make the program operate. This is a very big and very important I-class. We create fundraising travel programs. So, and I'm back on Aventura World on this particular bullet. You'll notice on our website we have no prices. It's important as our commitment to you, our traveling partner, that we don't advertise price on any website and such things as that. We don't want your travelers to come over to our website and start picking apart the program. Some chambers make $200 a person, some make $300, some make more. So our commitment is we'll not advertise a price on any of our products except in specific marketing pieces that you have approved, that you use. A very, very important section is your affinity, your travelers. You've gone out there, you've marketed the area, have been on Facebook, you speak at various events, and you gain your travelers. They are your gold. They are your affinity. It is important to make sure that they stay with you and they stay loyal to you, and the company that you partnered with does not try and attract them to travel without you, whether it be via email blasts, whether it be direct mails, whether it be via an evaluation form at the end of the trip that says, would you like to receive additional offers from us being the travel company? It is so important that those people stay with you. Now, payments from passengers to the company. I'll be very quick and light on this. I'm sure many of you know this. It's about 4.5, nearly 5 years now. ABC Destinations, a company that was very prominent in the chamber marketplace, went out of business. Those 27 chambers, that was booked programs with them, about 1,100 passengers, that was left without a program. Aventura World and Sakara International bailed those chambers out and gave their travelers the program that they expected. ABC Destinations requested all payments by check. It is important when you bring forth a program to make sure that for your own protection, I bring this for the chamber's protection, that you do your best to have your travelers pay by credit card. By paying by credit card, you are protected under the terms and conditions of the credit card company. Should a company ever cease to exist, you and your travelers will gain their money back. We at Aventura World, or as it was then, Central Holidays West, assisted in gaining money back from the credit card with each of the passengers that had paid by credit card, and they got their money back. The ones that had paid by personal check had really lost their money. We covered that money back then when ABC went out of business, but it was a big thing because we felt that it was important to the chamber community to do this. But you'll find there are many entities out there that will offer special discounts. They call them early bird discounts, that if you pay by a certain date and pay your next installment by check, or the final payment by check, you'll get a lower price. Be careful of that because the chamber isn't covered. Do your best to get payments by credit card, deposit, and final payment. Selecting your destination, important. And the world is such a big place. Where do we go? Some entities that's been doing this for a while can go most places. Starting a program, we recommend that you follow this rule. If you've never done travel before, 3 components. Select a destination that's not readily available in the local area. Not in the Sunday paper, etc. If you're in Miami, don't pick something that's always in Miami, that's blasted in the papers, blasted on the internet, etc., etc. Select a destination that's 9 days in length. You could a little longer with an optional extension, but 9 days is about what works the very best in the U.S. market. If we've got any Canadians on the webinar, well, you can go a little bit longer, up to 12, 13, sometimes 14 days. But the U.S. market, it's a 9-day program. Select a destination with value for money, quality components, not a cheap trip, just a value-conscious program with centrally located hotels. If you can cater to these 3 rules, there's a good chance your program will succeed. The most successful chamber programs are built on, again, 9-day, 7-night program with a possibility of an extension. The least amounts of packs and unpacks. The chamber marketplace tends to be in that 55-year-old and above, so they like their extended stays in each hotels. Get hometown air, air from your hometown, connecting with the international carrier. First-class centrally located hotels, included meals, not all. Now, not all because, again, people like to go and experience the destination and experience local foods independently. Included tours, but not all. Now, why? Again, we want to create value for money, but this is a fundraising program. A fundraising program, we need to cast the largest net possible, and we want to gain two specific demographics that we're trying to get for travel. One, the independent traveler or the person that's been independently traveling by themselves for years that wants to sample and try an organized tour. Two, the person that's been on an organized tour for forever and a day. By bringing forth this option, not all your tours, the independent traveler can experience. We're looking at Tuscany right there. There's 4 tours included on that program. We've got a couple of free days. They can head out and jump in a taxi. They can explore the local markets, go for walks in the mountains and the hills around, just do whatever they want to on their free days, but experience the destination with the tours that we bring together. The person who likes to be on the go every minute of the day, who wants to have a tour every day, can take optional tours that are purposely made for them. And on those free days, there is an optional program organized by us that will occupy them and keep them going. A larger net means more people. Somebody who you need to have assistance on the trip, tour directors, and good guides. A program that can only be found in the chamber market is ideal if you can find it. And competitively priced programs. Again, not cheap trips, but good value for money. If you haven't started programs doing this before, we recommend you start with destinations with some notoriety, maybe a name. Tuscany is a great one. Spain's a great one. Greece, the Eastern Europe's, Vienna's, Budapest, Prague's, a great destinations to start with. Good value for money, perceived safe destinations, and people have some notoriety or they have knowledge of the destinations. Once you've been operating programs for some time, as I mentioned earlier, there's many places you can go to. You can go to further exotic destinations, such as maybe in Egypt, or Peru, South America, South Africa, Iceland, many places that you can head to. Now, selecting a date, it's sometimes not as easy, and it's not just throwing a dart in a dartboard. How do we select a destination? The chamber market is a value-conscious marketplace, so the destination could depend on where is the value in the world during a period of time. When do you want to go? Well, again, it's best to try and plan a program when weather maybe is not quite as nice at home. If the daffodils are coming out, if the cherry blossom is starting and spring has sprung and it's starting to get summer, it's probably not a good idea if you're in a cooler climate to plan programs then, because people have been waiting for nice weather in their home, in their garden and such things as that. So plan programs when it's maybe not quite as nice at home. When do you need the profit from your travel? An important one. If you're doing this for non-dues revenue, what budget? What is your calendar budget? Are you on a fiscal budget? Are you a year to year? Do you need the profit first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter? Those are important things to discuss with the travel professional that you're talking to. When can I dedicate time to launch the program? Again, another important one. Some entities that already have a travel program up and running and have been doing it for years, they can sometimes pull off a trip within 90 days, launch and travel within 90 days. Don't recommend it, but there are entities out there that can do it. But when can you dedicate time to get out and market the program? Avoid graduations, Easters, Thanksgivings, holidays such as that, Christmas, those types of things. You will lower your participation if you operate during those particular periods of time. Now, how many trips should I plan in a year? That's a good question. Um, Chamber travel works by building the affinity and the camaraderie of the program. And the more travel programs that you operate, the lower possibility you have of creating an affinity. The way it works, as I mentioned a moment ago, is people get together on a program, become friends. They reminisce on adventures that they had in Spain or in Italy or in Vienna. And when they come home, they go out for dinner and they become friends in their hometown too. It's important. And as I mentioned, the last night is one of the hardest times of any program because people are going back and they have been with these people for the last 9 days, 7 days, 8, 9 days. Um, they return, as I mentioned, home and they'll have dinner and they'll have social events together and build that affinity for you. Um, with that positive experience, they will invite additional people. So I just came back from Tuscany with the chamber. I had such a great time. Oh, my neighbors would be interested. I'm going to invite them. I'm going to invite my friends and my family. And then it just grows and grows and grows. The more trips that you offer, the harder it is to build that affinity because point one and point two don't occur because you might have 40, 50 traveling base, and if you offer two trips, it brings it down to 25 and 25. Offer 3 trips, it brings it down under 20. If you operate 5 trips, it brings it to 10 people a trip. Strongly recommend just 1 trip. 2 trips maximum until you know you can produce 40 to 50 passengers on each trip in a calendar year. Anybody that recommends more than that to you may have a different understanding. It might be vacation travel. It might be just trying to get as many orders as possible. It's important to keep the affinity of your travel program alive. Who are my prospects? Board members. Board members have the money and often have the time to travel. Chamber members, of course, they are possible candidates for this. Your member employees and their family are important entities. So, it's important to get the message out to your chamber members, but also let them know that you might have a big company in town. Make sure that their employees know about it. The family of employees know about it. General public. This is important. And this is a great thing that a chamber can offer an international awareness program and educate members of the local public, the general public. If you can invite the general public and you can get them to travel with you, it opens up a new revenue stream you currently don't have. No matter where you are in the United States, the Chamber has a terrific reputation and a great name, and there are many people who would like to travel with you but does not have the ability to do so. They might not be members. They might have retired out of the workplace. So a general public is a great way to build a new revenue stream, and the travel program can get big if you bring in the general public. Build strong alliances with charitable groups that may or may not be members. They also may need a revenue stream, and you can partner with them. Local colleges and universities, many of them require that their students go overseas to graduate. Senior centers. The senior centers, that demographic have the time to travel, the members of the senior center, and the money to travel. And they're great partners. And other fundraising organizations, great ways to do it. Now, we create the program. We create The marketing material. The Chamber's job is getting the message out. And what's the horizons of time for this to happen? Plan ahead. Yes, promote as soon as you possibly can. The longer you have to promote, the more people you'll gain on the program. Ideally, 9 months prior to departure. So, October, November of this year is still a good time to be able to market and get enough people on the program comfortably. Use things such as Facebook and social media. This is a great shot of a chamber in New England that on the side of their building, they have a big sign advertising their chamber trip. And everybody that drives there and stops at that traffic light and looks over their left shoulder or their right shoulder will see the sign. Get the message out. Past travelers, if you're a past traveler, if you've already done a travel program, you'll know this, but email blasts to your travelers is important. To your members too, entice them with nice photographs, with trivia, with information. Just let them know about that you're heading on a trip. Local newspapers, business journals. Most chambers have relationships or co-op arrangements with media outlets. Get the message into local papers because that's a great way to get out to the general public. A little tagline at the bottom of your emails advertising the trip, letting people know you're going. There are many senior publications in every location. They're inexpensive, if not free to advertise in. Usually the ones that are in front of the store, the supermarket, or the maybe CVS or something like that. You'll find there are senior publications. Again, that's a marketplace that is very important for travel. Press releases, you probably know the editors of the local paper. Ask them for press releases, especially to advertise the trip itself. Radio spots, important. It gets the message out. There was a chamber on my last webinar, and we discussed after the webinar about marketing. A chap in Kentucky, and they've done a great job in blanketing the area radio stations, press releases, ads in senior publications, local papers, and they're doing extremely well. Local newspaper, local TV stations, the Hampton Roads Chamber in Virginia many times have had TV spots, almost an infomercial on the 6 o'clock news. And it's made their trips sell out very, very quickly. Treat your travel program like it's a membership drive. Get the message out, and members come. Get the message out, you'll gain travelers. Here's a nice press release on Cuba. This is a partner of ours, Mike Mullen, out of Maryland and Carroll County. He does a radio show, a business show. I think he goes Sundays and one day a week. And there's a snippet in there always about his travel. Just a couple of minutes from his show. It gets the message out to non-members. Great ways to get the message out. At Aventura, this is how we assist you. We'll give you full-colored brochures like what we're looking at here, four-sided, full customized brochures. There's a reservation form there. We give you camera-ready ads, full-color posters to drop up in chamber member restaurants, chamber buildings, prominent places downtown, and such things as that. We have staff that have been there that can talk to your travelers. We'll create webinars and presentations so that you can get your travelers up and running on the trip. And we have a web booking engine. Web booking engine brings up a lower cost of labor to you. Of course, we still have the paper registration form, but we have a dedicated booking engine. You'll notice there's no prices anywhere. It's not even on our website. If you go on our website, you will not find this booking engine. We bring it out in its separate page, /booking. So it's a standalone page. You'll be given, when you have a brochure with us, you've got a booking number. You'll put your booking number in this box, or your travelers will do that, put the booking number there, and it will open up the brochure and a typable reservation form. Once they fill it out and they can put their credit card number in there on a secure page, they'll press send. They'll gain confirmation of the reservation. We will gain confirmation of all the details, including credit card details, and you at the chamber will gain Mr. and Mrs. Smith just signed up for the destination, telephone number, email address, and address. So you're part of the process throughout. So you're never caught off guard. You'll know who signed up for the trip. Free places. The excitement of travel, the romance of travel. I think we all love it. I don't think there's anybody out there that doesn't. We give free trips on all our programs. Historically, our trips are based for 1 free in 20 paying passengers, or 1 free in 10 couples, whichever you would like to use the terminology on. But once you gain the frees, please use them. Incentivize staff members to sell, and maybe they're the one who gets the most amount of bookings gets to go free. Or I know some chamber executives in their contracts, they have, I need to go on a free trip. I need to go on a trip every year. So there are many different people that go and use the free trips, but use them to build the affinity of your program. The reason people are going on these trips is not because of the travel company. It's because of a wish to connect with the chamber. If you bring somebody on the program with your travelers, that chamber and person will be able to bond with those individuals, make those long-lasting relationships, be able to inform people of future things that the chamber is going to do. I know of entities out there that constantly gain new memberships from a travel program before and during the travel program. I know that there are chambers out there that have built not only gaining revenue per person on a trip, but of also coming back off of a trip, created donors from their travelers to donate funds and time and other things to the chamber. Because of those long-lasting relationships that have been built. Creating the international footprint. A good chap here, chamber president from Aiken, South Carolina, David Jimson, in Austria, on one of our programs, was there at the chamber, met the chamber executive from Innsbruck, Austria. I was invited to a gala event, met the governor of the region, met the archbishop, met many high profile businesses, and built a long-lasting relationship with Innsbruck, Austria, and the Chamber of Commerce there. It's a great way to, as I mentioned at the beginning, create an international footprint for you and your chamber overseas. Now, every year we operate FAM trips. You can see a list of them. FAM trips, familiarization trips, highly discounted programs that are operated by us through ACCE. These are trips that are highly subsidized by tourist offices, local governments, and etc. As you can see at the bottom, we've been to Italy, we've been to Spain, we've been to Egypt, and we've been to South America and Peru. This year, we're going to Argentina and Brazil, and we'd like to invite you on our FAM trip. It's June of this year, June 3 through 11. Space is filling quickly. You have received notification through ACCE, but I'm offering a personal invite to you now on this webinar. Let us know if we can assist you on this. You can email me directly This is my old email address here, iscott at centralholidays.com, but I also have Ian at aventuraworld.com. And just say, I want fam news, or you can come through to our info line. We'd be very happy to assist on this and find out how we can help you on this particular program. I wanted to be comfortable and careful of your time. I didn't want to last too long. We have a brief overview of this process and this operation. Does anybody have any questions? So, Tanya, do you want to read them out, or is there anybody there?
Yeah, we still have some folks here, so let me see. I'm trying to go through these. Okay, Ian, would you say that there are any specific, for a chamber that's doing this for the first time, would you say that there are any specific destinations that you would recommend for first-time chambers?
Yes. One thing that we do a little bit different. We don't come out there and say, "Hey, this is the destination that you should do," based on the criteria, excuse me, that we've given here. When do you want to travel? When do you need the revenue? When can you initiate a drive to get the message out? These are all important sections. But for example, to answer your question a little bit more directly, if somebody said, "Hey, I'm interested in operating a program and I need the revenue this year," so we'd look at the fall. So that brings the fall into the northern hemisphere to bring forth great value for money, because the southern hemisphere, it's the height of summer. So northern hemisphere would be Europe, Southeast Asia, etc. So start with something with some notoriety, maybe in Italy, maybe a Spain, maybe a Greece, something you can offer tremendous value for money on. And those are great destinations to start with.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Ian. And right now, I think that's the only one right now. If anyone has any further questions of Ian while we have him on the line, he is an excellent resource. They have been a valuable partner of ACCE with us for years. So if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and type them in so we can ask Ian right now while we have his ear. It's a great opportunity to just get your head around how it works and how the affinity programs work for your chamber. If we don't have any come through in the next few seconds or so, Ian, if there's anything else that you'd like to say, you still have a few more moments. You can go ahead and give them any more information that you would like.
Yes, as I said, if you would like to find out a little bit more about us, learn a little bit about that last night on a trip and the affinity that's built up and the memories, come join us on one of the fam trips. You'll understand what I mentioned at the beginning, how travel is an education, but it is a privilege. It's a wondrous world we have here, and we should travel it to the extent and come and travel on a fam trip and come to Brazil and Argentina with us. That's really all I have today. So anything else, we're open up to conversations after the webinar.
Sounds wonderful. Well, Ian, thank you so much as always. It has been truly an informative webinar. You just have so much information to offer all of the chambers out there, and I do hope that they take up this offer and reach out to you. If you all reach out to me, Tenja Young, and that's tyoung@acce.org, I will, of course, be more than happy to put you in contact with Ian Scott. Everyone, thank you again. Thank you for attending the webinar. Ian, thank you as always. We hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.